the cattle business became an important engine for prosperity. The men who made fortunes by financing, managing, and negotiating cattle drives became known as cattle barons. Early trail drivers took their own animals up the trail, but after their first great success, they tended to retire and let others do the hard work. They took their earnings, invested in new drives, and invested it in other enterprises. Some loaned it out and charged interest, and became private bankers. Others invested in Wall Street enterprises. Fortunes were made and then doubled and tripled because of the proceeds from a successful cattle drive. Men like Richard King, Mifflin Kennedy, and Shanghai Pierce became wealthy and hired legendary cattlemen like John T. Lytle and George Slaughter to run their herds up the trail. For those involved, driving cattle became the chance of a lifetime. For a cash-starved young Texan, being a cowboy was your first chance at making serious money. You could make some serious changes in your lifestyle, and if you played your cards right, might provide a little social and economic mobility. Cowboy life was hard, and dangers abounded. For those that had guts and gumption, and smart entrepreneurial men, fortunes could be made and cattle dynasties established. This influx of money into Texas and the molding of the state character would shape the state's development throughout the last part of the 19th century. Cattle driving followed the railroad west. Like a wheel with the hub at San Antonio, the spokes followed the Shawnee Trail first, then the Chisholm Trail, which crossed the Red River at Red River Station near present-day Nocona, Texas. Towns in Kansas like Abilene gave way to new cow towns like Ellsworth and Fort Hays and Wichita, each competing for their share of the cattle trade. Other innovative cowmen aimed their herds towards Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming, and to the Dakotas and Montana beyond. There, ranchers set up their own operations by copying what was going on in Texas. By 1874, the Chisholm Trail was starting to really get overrun by farmers, so John T. Lytle blazed a new route a little further west. It crossed the Red River at Doan's Store near present-day Vernon. This route cut through the western Indian Territory, connecting it to the railroads at Dodge City. The Western Cattle Trail, as it became known, fanned out across the scrub country north and west of San Antonio, crossing through Cow Gap north of present-day Brady, and then crossed over the Colorado near Coleman, and then fanned out into the grassy prairies around present-day Abilene, Texas, before coming back together at the crossing of the Brazos at Fort Griffin. Soon, this became the preferred route. Millions of animals left Texas over the years bound for pastures, pens, and platters a long way from where they had been born. This cattle boom would not last forever. Disease and quarantines continued to bedevil the business, as did settlers blocking access to routes and water. The 1874 invention of barbed wire by Midwesterner Joseph Glidden and the salesmanship of John Gates also spelled the end. The open range of Texas, which had facilitated the cattle drives, now could be fenced. Trail driving, which had been a remarkable phase of the Texas story, flourished for a decade and a half. Then it gave way in turn to ranching. An era ended, but it created the idea of the Texas cowboy, a rugged, resourceful man of action that lives deep within the Lone Star mind.